This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 173.
I started trying to put that together, but it was still a nightmare. I mean, it had no, you know, solidity to it at all. But at that point, I think is where I just became in love with the market, in general.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. He's thinking about getting into shooting with a bow. Any suggestions? Oh, I've got one. I think you also need an arrow. Anything I can do to help. Play Trader.
Our voiceover guy, isn't he something special? That part was not scripted about you're going to also need an arrow. So voiceover guy, I appreciate your sense of humor every now and then. But yes, the actual fun fact, I am thinking about getting into shooting with a bow. And I brought this up to our trading community, the chat room, several months ago. But, then there's some other things that have popped up in the budget. And, you gotta rank priorities. And as much as I want to get into it, and I still do, there's just a few other things on the priority list from a personal finance perspective that have a higher ranking. But, with that being said, yeah, I'm all ears. I really don't know much about bow shooting. So if you have any suggestions, I'm all for it. Right now, what would the main purpose be? I just want to shoot at some targets and stuff. I don't hunt. Maybe I'll hunt someday, but I don't know if I necessarily have the patience for it.
You'll shoot your eye out.
Yeah, I'll shoot. Is that possible with maybe it is with a bow. I don't know, but
please don't. Oh, I can't.
Do you shoot, Ches, with a bow?
No,
or have you
haven't.
ever shot, or do you ever want to shoot?
I have a few family members who do it, and then elk trout in the community. I went out with him scouting one time, and no, it looks. I would love to do stuff like that. I love kind of target shooting, with pistols and stuff like that. So I could see that being right in my wheelhouse, and it's definitely more of a challenge from what I've heard.
Yeah, it really is. I hear it's, and that's kind of what's caught my attention was I didn't realize how much of a mental game it is, and I'm all, which was kind of the same with pistol shooting. You see so many Hollywood movies, and you're like, oh, that takes no skill at all. You just pull it out and start, aim in the general vicinity, and you'll hit somebody like right between the eyes. But no, the pistol shooting is quite the mental game. But yeah, to your point, from my understanding, bow hunting takes things up even a whole nother level from that, which sounds pretty interesting. But also, I will vouch for you, Ches, that you are definitely no joke about probably wanting to get into this, given where you live, kind of almost off the grid in Colorado. You're surrounded by grizzly bears and stuff like that, aren't you? So, I mean, you probably need a bow.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's kind of crazy because when everybody's putting in for the lottery out here where you can get free tags and stuff like that, and it's just, everyone's like, oh, what zone did you get? Oh, I got this zone. Yeah, I had really good luck with this season that time. And I'm like, this is so over my head. Like, there's no hunting in Chicago to be done. So
right. Or Southern California where you came from. So, I mean,
definitely.
But you're embracing it from all that I can tell. And I think we've covered this already, but many people commented on the meet and greet in Florida, which was like pretty soon when you moved out to Colorado and you showed up and you were in like the flannel and you were just,
I assimilate very well.
Yeah. You embraced, you're like a Green Beret. You just, assimilate into the culture.
Drop me in wherever and just
and
one
then
of
you
the
just
locals.
learn the language, learn the customs, and maybe you should change no, don't do that, but because it would drive me nuts. But Ches the Green Beret could have been a great alias in the chat room, but definitely don't do that because you know full well that it'll drive me insane. But
grinds your gears.
It'll grind my gears for sure. Today, though, we have actually a pretty cool, not cool, it's kind of, Ches and I were kind of under the gun. We had one of our microphones got stolen. We had just a bunch of weird stuff going on to try to get a guest. So we're kind of under the gun. So it is almost July 4th. So happy July. I hope everybody had a good July 4th. So my point is that this episode actually is going to post like very soon after we recording it. So we are definitely in real time here, whereas past episodes, because of the way we have it structured, things are a little bit off time wise. But here, no, this is as real as it gets in terms of, kind of being right now. But we have a bunch of interviews lined up for next week. So we'll try to get our buffer built back up. But Trey is our guest today from the chat room. And Trey Campbell 77, the number is his alias for those of you that are listening that are members of the community. and he's been pretty active in the trade room. And yeah, he was toughing this one out. He's really helping us out, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, he's been on a wild journey. He's had a few moments of being quite the sucker, but he owned it. And that's why I think he's turned things around so much from it, because that's usually the first step is you just got to own things. But yeah, good interview. I don't know how he made it through it given the circumstances he was under, but Ches and I definitely appreciated it. So yeah, let's hear about Trae and his trading journey. Trae, welcome to the show.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Now, my question to you right off the get-go, because I'm starting to learn more about you, given that you participate in the chat room and all that stuff. But I know you like to, or I don't know if you like to trade it, but I remember last week you traded MU, and MU today, as of the recording, just totally went, bonkers, up, down, all over the place. Did you trade it at all?
I did not. I haven't traded for the past 2 days. As fate would have it, I'm covered from head to toe in poison oak. So I am, yes. So I've had an allergic reaction, and I'm just kind of sitting at home and puffy, So
wow.
Yeah. So
and Ches, once again, we don't want to hear your excuses. We now officially have a guest who's covered in poison oak,
on the verge of dying, severe allergic reactions, and he's here on the day before a holiday doing a podcast with us.
Yeah,
no excuses.
Wow, that's just.
Yeah,
I would give you a hug, Trey, but I don't want to get poison oak either. So I'll just, I guess I'll give you an air fist bump, saying thank you, man, I appreciate it. So, well, okay, I guess that's a good hall pass to not trade the MU late date. Did you see it at least, or are you not even looking at charts?
I haven't even looked. To be honest, I've just kind of just been hanging out. So as far as the month of July, I haven't even pulled a chart up.
Well, and that's totally fine for listeners' context. It is July 3rd as of the recording of this. So, Trey's, and let's see, July 1st was a weekend. But anyways, yes. Well, let's get kind of circle back here to the very start of things. Where did all this start for you? I mean, where did you hear about the markets, and what kind of got you interested enough to say, these markets sound interesting, and I think I want to kind of try to get a little bit more active, more involved in it.
Okay, so to answer that, I would probably have to go all the way back to my childhood. My family owned a junkyard business, so we had we were all the time in the metal scrapping and stuff like that, and I grew up in that. So as a kid growing up, you're always hearing metal prices are up, metal prices are down, metal prices are terrible. So I didn't really understand the whole concept, but I was kind of interested in what was causing it. My family to pull their hair out one day, and then the next day they were smiling, and it was just kind of an up and down kind of thing. And so it kind of started there, and as time would have it and go on, I kind of got more interested in about 2008. So to reference back, that was probably the late 90s. So when we were in the metal business.
Well, that's pretty cool. Now, did they ever kind of pull up any charts for you, or any kind of clippings or something looking at that, while you're hearing metals are up or metals are down, anything like that?
No, we didn't really look at that. We would just look at postings like they would have it in the newspaper, just different areas and stuff like that, and they kept up with it somehow. I don't know. Like I said, it was the 90s, so it's not like we could just pull it up and like on a computer or anything like that, because we were on the poor side, so we didn't have any of the fancy equipment and stuff like that. So we would read it in the newspaper, and just different things like that.
Well, poor side or not, doesn't matter. You would have had to use dial-up, and it would have taken you 70 minutes just to pull up a price anyway. So I think the newspaper is probably a better bet in the 90s for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So you said fast forward in towards 2008, you started to pay more attention to markets in general?
I did, yeah. 2008 was really the spark for me. I got married when I was 19, and so I got married young, and I was working a job, at a company. I guess I can say it. It was called G&K. It's a uniform company, and I was working second shift, and we had I got off one night and I was sitting at home, and an infomercial came on TV, and it was for yeah. And this was like at midnight, so it was a real good one.
Yeah, real good one indeed, I'm sure. All right, I can't wait.
Yeah, so this commercial says it's basically like the open. I don't know how long Forex had been going on, but as far as like I don't know in that time period what was being traded and whatnot. So I just I had no clue. So I see this commercial come on TV, and it's basically this platform, and you just look at you look at your screen, and when it lights up green, you just hit the green button, and then when it lights up red, you hit the red button, and you magically make money.
Let me cut you off right there, because it just dawned on me. Your explanation of this is like you epitomized exactly who that marketing is geared towards. So, I mean, reviewers, rewind back a little bit, and Trey's like, I saw this Forex thing, and I'm not sure if it was trading, and you could tell he was looking for words. He didn't really know how to explain, how to, because he didn't understand what exactly was going on, and I'm not sure he didn't know the history of it. He didn't know really anything about it. Is that a fair observation, or am I misunderstanding?
No, you're 100% correct, and that actually, once I saw the commercial, I started researching it, and I understood that currency pairs are traded. So that just wowed me. So from there, I just spiraled down through free YouTube videos, and just the whole cesspool of the free stuff out there that's just no good for you.
Let me just make a quick point here, because I appreciate your candor and just admitting, I had no idea. This is why Ches and I, week after week, just kind of beat certain dead horses, because you have to realize that there's certain marketing out there that is geared towards taking advantage of pretty much blind little puppy dog sheep like Trey was at midnight at night. And, with this day and age of internet, technology now, people don't even have to use those infomercials. They can just throw a bunch of fancy stuff on their site, proclaim. I'm assuming that whole Forex, late night, where they like showing fancy cars and exotic vacations and stuff like that. I mean, were they implying that a lot of good money can be made in the Forex market?
Oh yes, it was actually back to back with a real estate commercial of a guy that
perfect.
bought and traded mortgage notes. So he was buying and trading mortgage notes, and the other guy was selling this dashboard for your computer. So it was.
So I mean, point here being, this is why training, this is why education is so important, and this is why you need to be very aware that if you don't really have any idea what's going on, and then you're stumbling across one of these, anything. Now, I guess at this point, like I said, a social media or a website, or maybe there's still late night infomercials, and you're thinking, wow, I really don't quite understand what's going on, but really, like, you can get this and you can get that, and you can, be, surrounded by beautiful women and scantily clad. I mean, really, this. Trust me, that's a sign. And Trey, I would like you. That's something that you need to be very, very leery of, right? I mean, hindsight, looking back, I mean, that was all probably just, taking down paths that you didn't want to go down, right?
Absolutely, but I went down it. So I mean,
well, because at the time you didn't know any better, right?
Right.
Hence
right.
the
I
point.
Didn't know
that's
any better,
why they're
so
exactly, and that's who they're preying upon.
Yeah.
Those that don't know any better. So of course you went down the path, because they're good at marketing. They understand the human emotion, and psychology. So they know what buttons to press. So I didn't mean to cut you off. I do apologize for that, but it kind of just dawned on me. Wow, this is like a classic example of who these marketing, who these people, or what this business model is based on, and people that simply don't know any better. So like I said, it was red and green buttons you pressed, and you researched more on it, so I'll pick it back up from there then.
Yeah, so I started messing around with the the Forex markets, and I opened up a demo account with I can't remember what broker it was through, but it was an MT4 platform. I'm sure you're familiar with it's a pretty popular platform. Big. So I opened this platform and I start playing around with it, pulling up charts, and it's just it's just far out for me. I'm just trying to grasp it all, and I start to play around with it without really knowing anything, and so I hit a button, and then I hit another button, and I made like $30 on this demo account, and I'm like, wow, I can do this. This is awesome, So long story short, I ended up just continuing with the demo, and just started watching more and more videos, and started to realize that this is not as easy as they portrayed it to be.
Did you happen to know what kind of size you're using on the demo platform? Because I'm pretty sure they start you off at like $100,000, and click and buy and sell, you can make $30 pretty easy here and there when you're trading $100,000.
Yeah, I was trading a full lot, and I was like 3 pips or points, or
right.
You would make $30. So, and I did that once. Actually, I wasn't even looking at a chart. I just had that same dashboard up that shows the currency pairs, and just playing around with it. So I found that it's a lot harder to do. So I started researching charts and the best way to try to understand them and stuff. And that's when I actually stumbled across a guy, and probably, I don't know what time frame this is, maybe like 2009. Can I say his name?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
So this guy, he was an Australian guy, and his name was Niall Fuller. I don't know if you're familiar with that name or not, but he started making some videos on YouTube, and I started to watch them, and just his technical analysis, and support and resistance and stuff like that. So I started trying to put that together, but it was still a nightmare. I mean, it had no solidity to it at all. And but at that point, I think is where I just became in love with the market, in general. It was with Forex and with the charting and with all that there. I fell in love with it.
Right, and I think the cool thing about this, Clay, is he says he actually fell in love with it, and at no part did I hear him say, yeah, I was so ready to put $1,000 into this Forex account and turn it into $1 million in 10 trades and change my life and live on a yacht in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. No, he just said he found a love for the markets, and that's about as good as it can get, because now you understand, nothing comes easy when you love stuff, so you're going to put some work in. So I think that's great to hear.
Yeah, no, that's you nailed it, because common theme, if you're getting into this stuff because you've been suckered in by yachts and Lamborghinis and exotic vacations, I mean, yeah, the sky's the limit when it comes to the market. With that being said, getting to that sky is going to take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And if that's the only reason you're getting into it and not because of the challenge of it, yeah, you'll burn out so fast that you'll just burn out, and we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, but once you put your money on the line, things change in a hurry. Everything just
big time.
Yes. So there's a lot of.
So I guess
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's a lot of different emotions that take over once you see, green go to red, and something else takes over. Your heart starts racing, and you get sweaty palms, and the emotion of it was just a lot. So
yeah, no, and I guess that kind of brings about my question is, you were learning about charts, you loved, you were fascinated by it, you enjoyed it, you had a passion for it, as Ches highlighted. How long did the whole learning charts / demo account go on before you actually kind of, like you said, met all the, we on the show, we're always talking about you before you met the voices, because the voices come out, when you actually have real money on the line, the sweaty palms and all that sort of stuff. So how long were you actually just kind of demoing and learning about charts and all that for before you actually met those voices?
Okay, so I put somewhere around that time period, 2009, 2010, I actually bought a MT4 robot. So that was a whole different.
Jess, you hear that?
Finally,
Yeah.
he was the one guy who
Finally
purchased my
somebody
robot.
bought-
Yeah. And it was a robot that never loses. It was a never losing robot. It didn't tell you that it held your positions until it was a winning trade. So
I love those robots. They're the best.
They're so good.
Go long and hold till you're right. Best of luck
Yeah.
with that.
Are you willing to disclose what amount you paid for this robot?
It was like $250 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it wasn't expensive.
I don't know. That sounds like a bargain, though, for something that never loses. I mean, I would have thought it would have been like maybe $250,000 for something that never loses. But
I really thought the Holy Grail would have cost more money, but I guess not.
Yeah. So walk us through this robot. I mean, let me ask this: was this a website you came across? Was it a YouTube? What was the marketing that and I don't mean to say it in a rough way, that kind of suckered you in, because you were kind of a sucker at this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, is that fair to me to say you were a total sucker for this thing?
No, that's completely legitimate.
Okay. Well, what was the marketing? Because I get it. It's all easy for us to sit here and armchair quarterback it. Oh, you idiot. Oh, you sucker. Oh, you. But trust me, there's people are getting suckered in every day. So what was it that actually kind of made you, pull the trigger on the $250 or, give or take whatever the price was? I mean, was there something specific that you remember?
I think it was on a YouTube video, and it was just I remember sitting at home and just thinking, this is a chance to change my life. So I'm gonna go for it. Even though it was crazy, but at the same time I thought, well, if this thing does what this guy says it's going to do, then he had videos and data where he had run past results and this everything under the sun. So I bought it and I applied it to a live account. And
did you ever apply it to the sim account or at all, or no?
No, I went straight to a live account. I deposited money as soon as I got the robot.
Why?
All right, I'm ready to hear. Okay,
that's a great question.
I
would, to be fair, full disclosure, I probably would have done what you did, Trey, because I wasn't even thinking about. Oh well, I'm sure he's going to run it through the sim account. I was already gung ho. Let's just get to it. But so I think Ches is apparently the only rational one here. But why didn't you actually run it through a sim? Because now that in hindsight, now that Ches brings that up, I'm thinking, yeah, that makes like total sense. That would be a very wise move to do. Why did you not do that then?
I don't know. I
don't know why I didn't think of it either. So I'm not judging at all. I'm just thinking, why didn't I think of that? So I'm just curious.
Looking back on it, if I could go back and change it. But at the same time, I look back at everything that I've had to go through to get where I'm at today, and I think maybe if some of that had changed, or if I hadn't have done that, maybe I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. Maybe it's just all part of my story that just adds up to what created the trader that I am today. So, in hindsight now, I look back on it and I think, well, would I have changed it? I don't know. It's just the ignorance on my part of just having to go through all the hard knocks to actually get to that point where I was comfortable and I had a system and I had, things that clicked in my mind. So, so looking back on it, I can laugh and enjoy it because, ignorance is bliss. I didn't know no better, and now look,
and from and just observing, and this is, trading is, it's so emotional, but I think, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but you made a comment about wanting to change your life. You just wanted to you wanted to make something better for your life, for your surrounding, for your situation. So you have that as the kind of the backdrop. And then here you are, somebody promising, hey, this robot is going to, make your life better. It's going to do it's going to do all this stuff. It's going to just make things, rainbows and butterflies and puppy dogs and all that sort of stuff. So you combine that with the fact of, you wanted to change your situation. And I'm sure you were just fired up. You're like, wait, why would I run this through a simulator? I mean, it works. The guy showed all this data. It's gonna, I mean, so let's just get to it because I want to start to change my life right now. And kind of a common theme here is that's what these marketing people are, that's what they prey upon. And that's why Ches and I are kind of idiots because we're sitting here talking about how hard trading is all the time. And yeah, you can change your life, but you better be ready to work hard, which is like the worst marketing pitch ever because, like this robot guy was doing, all his was, hey, if you want to change your life, it's easy. All you got to do is buy my robot and your life will start to change. So I'm thinking, and I'm guessing that's probably why you just never ran through it because you're just so fired up. Does that sound at least logical to you, Trey?
Yes, very. It was you hit it right on the head. That sums it up, and I jumped right in. And to be honest with you, the robot didn't lose me any money, but it got me into like 6 different trades, and it held those trades for like 6 months. So, long story short, I ended up, it was like a micro account. So, I mean, I think it was $1,000 that I put in the account, and it was like a 0.01 or 100,000 lot or whatever. It was the smallest lot you can get, the micro lot, and or a 10,000 lot, I believe, is the smallest. But it took like 6 months. It got into 6 different trades and 5 or 6 different trades, and it just held them through all the negative. So I was coming back every day looking at it, and it was down to $50, $60, and so it was just the whole time that I spent in negative territory was the entirety of that whole 6-month period, and then it finally come back around, and it took like just a tiny little profit considering the time that you spent in negative territory was just so unrealistic.
Gotcha. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but looking back at it, are you happy with that robot's performance considering you had to sit underwater for 6 months and then made whatever you made on it?
Oh no, that
okay.
Yeah, that was the icing on the cake for me. So once I did wait, and that was probably my biggest mistake, is I just let it keep running. So I'm lucky to have walked away with anything, I guess, because instead of just cutting it, after even a month, would have been wise and just say, this is.
Yeah, there's some brokers too that have something they call a swap. So the longer you hold a position, you get charged a small fee for holding long or short or something like that. So I was half nervous you were going to say you held these positions so long it literally ate away your micro account to nothing. But at least you it cost you more in terms of time than it did in money. And Clay, how do you feel about the time value of money?
I was going to say, this is like a great economic concept, and I love my economics, but I would argue that the robot, and I'm not arguing maliciously, I think that the robot did lose you money for the discussion that Ches and you guys have been having. Yeah, you won, technically speaking, but I mean, your capital was tied up. I mean, was it like literally 6 months or give or take, 5 months, somewhere right around there? It was literally that long?
It was literally that long. Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, as a listener, the robot was still a losing robot because, I mean, think about it. What else, opportunity cost, what else could he have been doing with that money? Had he just sold after a month, sure, he would have lost money, but then he could have had 5 months more to go back out there and improve and build that money back up plus some. But when your money is tied up, just waiting and waiting and waiting, I mean, that's what the time value of money, is all about. So sure, he had more, but it brings about the question, could he have had that much more had he just taken the loss right away? So I don't know. I could swear Ches and I'm sure Trey has heard the saying, cut losers quick. I mean, that's why, because it's all about, just keeping capital in your hand so that you can try to, go get out there and put it back to work. But, so literally I'm thinking out loud here now, that was bam, just like that, this whole robot thing. To be honest, I thought it was going to be like a 3-week thing. Oh, I learned within like a couple of weeks that, okay, this isn't for me. And then we were going to jump on to the next stage in your journey. But that literally just took a bite of like 6 months out of the timeline here. So, I mean, after 6 months, did you move on from it, or you're like, I want to give it another try? Or I guess after all those positions finally sold, what was your next step in your journey?
So the next step was I shut the account down and I walked away, and I took a break, but it's something just always calling me back to it. I just couldn't. I lay in bed at night, and as my mind would wander throughout the day and stuff, it would always go back to those charts, and I just couldn't get away from it. So, excuse me, I stepped away, walked away, washed my hands of it. I actually did earn interest on 3 of those positions too. So those as they were tied up for 6 months, there was very little, but they were earning a little bit of interest too. So
that's interesting. I never expected to hear that one.
It was kind of interesting to see that too. So, but either way, I quit. I walked away. I started, I had a demo that would just kind of be running in the background all the time. So I would just kind of play around with it when I was in the office or in my home office working on the computer or whatever. But I never put money back on the line. And then in 2011, my wife and I, we opened our first business together, and we opened up a car dealership.
I thought you were going to say a trading robot business.
Yeah, I know, right? Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But no, we opened up a small car dealership, and it went very well. We were profitable in the first year, which is that's a landmark there, because most businesses are at least negative in the first year. So we made money in the first year, and everything was going really good, and I started noticing a pattern with the car business and trading, and I put the 2 and 2 together, and it started really just to click with me. And I would go to these auctions, and they would auction these cars off, and you're talking, you would have somebody there representing the car. You would have the auctioneer, and then you would have just the pit of people. It was like the exchange right there. I mean, it was just in your face. Everybody's got their hands up, and the auctioneer would start at a price and couldn't get any bids, so he was forced to have to lower the price. And once I started to say, okay, well, I can go to an auction and buy cars like this. What's really the difference between that and the markets? Because you're looking at an auctioneer, you're looking at a guy that stands there and represents the car, the stock that he's willing to sell, and then you've got a pit full of people that's trying to throw bids at it. So, and once I started looking at it in that perspective, it really changed my outlook on a lot of things, as far as the stock market goes.
No, that's super fascinating, because that's exactly what it is. What you just described was level 2. I mean, the only thing was, and which makes the pit so interesting, is at any moment, somebody in the pit could just be like, screw this, I'm not bidding anymore, I'll take it. And then all of a sudden, all those other people in the pit are, oh, well, I guess I'm not going to get it, because somebody else actually jumped up and decided to pay for that, which is, always which makes the game so fun, because at what point is somebody in the pit going to just actually, decide to take whatever the person up on stage is offering up? But that's pretty interesting, Ches, isn't it? I mean, what he described is the market through and through.
Yeah, no, it's literally supply, demand, and somebody keeping a tidy marketplace. But yeah, you and Mr. T. Fletch would have a very good time, because he's also involved with cars in the auction process. So yeah, no, you're literally watching a live market unfold. So
exactly,
you're right. If you can do it there, you should be able to do it in other markets as well.
Yeah, good call on T. Fletch, Ches. Did you listen to T. Fletch's podcast?
No,
Trey?
I haven't listened to that.
Okay. Yeah, you'll have to, it's been a while, but he had a 2-parter. But yeah, Ches, exactly. You guys would get along real well. If T. Fletch listens to this one, I'm sure he'll try to be hitting you up in the chat room to talk. Who knows what he'll be playing? But yeah, that's what he does too. But well, I'm kind of as just somebody that likes to build businesses as a whole. You have this car business going. It's profitable after its first year. You're you're recognizing the pattern from the bids to the market. So I'm did this cause you to get back into to trading, or did you just still focus on the business? I guess pick it back up from after you recognize this whole pattern here between the auction business and the actual stock market, forex market, just financial markets.
So I
should
dropped
say.
after started the business and everything. I kind of started branching away from forex and looking more into the stock market and just different companies, and just looking at the difference in all of them in whole, and so forex was great, but my trading was it got narrowed down to just one pair, so it had to be a certain setup on that one pair, and with the stock market, the fees were low. It was the same fees every time, no matter what stock I traded, and so I was more interested in that because in forex you get charged more, or you have a wider spread, I'll say, in certain pairs. And the way I was trading it, it was just too hard to try to get in and out of a certain pair, capturing just like a micro trade or a 2 or 3 pip gain.
Yeah, scalping.
Yeah, scalp. And so basically I started researching the stock markets and a good day trading kind of platform and stuff like that. And I don't know how I got met up with Lightspeed. So I think it was through YouTube, but I believe it was before you were putting videos out, Clay. I believe there was somebody there that was not like he was just like a trade journal, and I saw the little symbol, and so I researched it, and that's when I came across Lightspeed as a broker, and just started from there, building my process of how I was going to go about getting involved in the stock market. So
now, correct me if I'm wrong, though. The car business is still going well.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping around there, but yes, the car business is going great. At this point in time, we've kind of moved to wholesale. So now we're just selling to other dealers, and we're business is good, everything's good. So I'm basically sitting in an office, doing paperwork, and then I'm looking at the stock market. So as I'm sitting there bored or not having anything going on, I'm looking at charts and trying to find. At this time I was just swing trading only. So I'm looking at different catalysts and confluence in certain markets and stuff like that. So it kind of worked out really good for me because I could sit there and do that and have my car business too. So it worked out really well.
Multiple streams of income if you do it right, that's for sure. So that's why I was kind of asking there. I wasn't, I didn't hear that you would foreclose on the car business and just threw your entire, home equity line into the Lightspeed account. So I'm glad you didn't do that. That's not a smart thing to do. If anyone's out there listening, thinking
please
about
don't do that.
So you got this, so you got this Lightspeed account. So did you just immediately fund it and you're just swing trading on that, or is that what you were saying there?
I funded it. I didn't fund it with a whole lot of money, but I did fund it where I could, it was like a cash account. So I had to wait three days, I believe, on anything that cleared. So, it was like a slower process. And, but I mainly looked at 3 different, technical analysis type patterns, on a daily chart, which was like what would I call like a pin bar setup or a doji setup, and I have what I call like a 50% entry, and I would have a set like 3-to-1 or 2-to-1 ratio as far as risk versus reward, and I would risk the same amount every time, no matter the distance. So I would have a set stop loss of, let's say, $100 for a $300 stake, and I would kind of trail the stop one by or one behind each tier. So if it went to a 1-to-1, I would put it to a break even. when it went to 2-to-1, I'd put it to 1-to-0 because I was a free trade at that point, and I just followed up until it killed the trade, and it seemed to work out pretty good. I actually during this period of time made my first withdrawal. So it was such an amazing time for me. I actually got to withdraw, some money that I had made, and it was the first time ever. So it was pretty awesome.
That is a good feeling for sure. Just to clarify, I'm assuming that because you funded it on the smaller side, that you had their I don't even know what they call it these days, like the web-based trader. I mean, it wasn't like the platform that you see on my live trade videos, right? Because that's Lightspeed Pro, I think they call it or whatever. But you just had the Lightspeed, very, very basic web trader
Correct.
Platform. Am I
correct?
Understanding that correctly?
It was all web-based. There was no platform. You used everything of theirs. So you didn't download anything.
Okay.
So, yes, it was I even used their charts. Yep. So that's yeah.
Hey, if it works for you, that's fine.
My condolences.
For my eyeball, that's but for you listeners out there, just realize that Lightspeed, and all brokers are different, but as far as Lightspeed at the time of this recording, anybody can open up an account, but you have to hit certain thresholds if you want to get what you would see in my live trade video. So I want to make that distinction. It's not like you can throw in $10 and then you have their platform that you've maybe seen online or whatever. So just want to get that point out of the way. But you're purely swing trading at this point, right? Or there's no day trading going on?
No day trading, but I'm researching it, and that's about the time period that I found your videos on YouTube. And
so do you ballpark what year was this about then? Because I mean, we started way back in 2008. So I mean, this is
over a span like 2015, somewhere in there.
Okay,
maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So you are researching day trading. You come across my videos, and I would assume that day trading was always the end goal, or were you just kind of researching out of curiosity?
I was researching out of curiosity, and I just loved the activeness of it because it made me feel like I was back on the bidding at the auctions. It was just all in your face, and it was right there, and you had to multitask and have a lot of things going on at one time. So I started, that to me was just awesome, and I wanted to get to the point where I felt comfortable in that kind of speed. So I started researching and found your videos. There wasn't as many, obviously, as there is now, but I started watching how you were trading and analyzing it and watching different posts and trying to go back. If you did post a trade, I would try to go back, and if it was time stamped, I would analyze and try to figure out what was going through your mind when you made that trade. I was just trying to put it all together, and I ended up probably watching every one of them to date. I guess all 360. What is it? 362 of them. 61.
I don't know. Is that how many there are now? I lost track a long time ago. I just
there's a ton of them.
All I know is we put them out on Tuesdays. That's all. As far as that, I've stopped counting, but I do know there are hundreds and hundreds of them, which is why I laugh when people are like, Clay doesn't trade. It's like, do you understand Lightspeed, that their demo account is literally like I think they give it to you for like 2 weeks, and FYI, I have quite a few more than 2 weeks worth of live trade videos. So it's just one of those things that makes me chuckle.
You crammed in 300 videos in a 2 week demo period.
Yeah, exactly.
From 2013, right?
Yeah, exactly. But so you're go ahead, Trey.
Oh, I was just going to say, does Lightspeed even give live data to a demo? That was my question.
I don't know.
I don't think they do. I think it's
15 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's a delayed time. So either way, I mean, there wouldn't be a way to do it, and you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's a delayed system.
Trey, there's always. Have you not met the tinfoil hats on the internet?
I know.
There's always. Are you not aware that you're actually part of a secret group that shorts 000 penny stocks? I mean, Trey, there's always a way.
Stop telling people, Clay.
Yeah, okay.
It's private.
Yes. We need one of those things from Men in Black.
Our shorting bot is in the process of being, made right now.
Yeah, but ours is only going to be for $2.50, not $250, because we're nice people, Ches. I mean, we're not going to be savages about it. But so you are researching. How long, when did you actually start to put real money on the line from a day trading perspective? And did you start, kind of the follow-up question, did you start with the required 25,000, or did you just start day trading with a smaller amount?
So I'll go back to the part where I was still watching your videos. So I actually looked into the chat room and all that, and I was studying, I was looking at everything, and I just got to thinking to myself, I was like, this guy has to just do this because he loves to teach. Like that I mean, for everything that he does, and he's charging the price point that he's charging, which is an amazing price for everything. You know, there's something to somebody that's willing to put that much effort into your business platform and everything that you do, and to be able to keep everything at a price point that you do. And it was just so fascinating to me to see that I knew that right off the bat, without ever even talking to you or meeting you, I knew that you were doing it because you felt the led to do it. Otherwise, there really wouldn't be any point in it. And so that's what kind of got me hooked into. I've got to join this chat room. Got to do as much as I can learning from this guy and just bouncing things back and forth. And because it's a cruel world out there, and like I was talking about with the robots and the commercial on TV, everything is great and it's all roses and sunshine. But at the end of the day, what sold me to Clay Trader was the point that I knew just by the way you had everything set up, I knew that it was truly just a passion of yours to teach and to try to help people better themselves. So, yeah.
Well, thank you for that, and I appreciate that. And I mean, that's a good, very astute observation on your part, because I think a lot of times, well, again, when people are like this, that, and the other, you scammer, it's like, listen, it's $99 for 12 months membership. That price is there.
Well,
to
do you
keep
offer
out
a payment plan on that?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's just like, do you not realize that some people are charged like $99 a month? Like, you see the $297, $397 per quarter payment. It's like, I mean, I get it. There's lots of shady people out there, but I mean, risk versus reward. I mean, it's $100 for 12 months. It's not exactly like I'm trying to take anybody to the cleaner. So I thank you for that, because that's exactly right. I have a family, so I'm not going to do all this for free, because we all, the one commodity that you can't buy any more of is time. So I'm not going to do all this for free, but I'm also not here to just, I mean, if people want to invest in themselves, better themselves, then yeah, I'll make it possible, and I'll make it possible for what I think is more than fair pricing, because I do enjoy hanging out. I do enjoy, coaching, teaching, mentoring, whatever you want to call it. So good. I appreciate you making that observation, because I think a lot of people kind of miss out on that. But so yeah, awesome. And you joined you're actually pretty new to the community. You joined like a month ago?
Well, I renewed my subscription about a month.
You renewed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
I've been a part since like 2016, but I just renewed back.
Wait a second, Trey. I have a bone to pick with you right off. And maybe I'm going to make myself look stupid here. But Ches, catch me as we're each other's wingmen here. I don't. Did you used to ever talk in the chat room?
No. The first go round, yeah.
So that's so therefore, I will proceed with my bone to pick.
Yeah.
Why just now are you all of a sudden? Like I said at the very beginning of this, I'm starting to get to know you. I'm starting to just remember certain tendencies. That's why I asked you about MU. So to hear that you've been a member since 2016 and you were never talking, and you just what's up with that?
Yeah, I was still very, I wasn't confident in my trading at that point in time, so I wasn't going to make calls or try to put anything out there.
I do appreciate that, and I'm just kind of giving you a hard time. But I was also asking out of fascination, because now, you're in there, you're talking, you're a nice addition to the group. So that's funny, but that is. I'm glad you took that route because don't get me wrong, we love all our members, but sometimes people show up and they make an alert and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then people are, are like, hey, that doesn't really make any sense. And most people are like, okay, thanks for that. I apparently need to do a little more studying. But some people are like, you guys are a bunch of jerks. What did I pay for? It's like, well, do you want us to continue to, let you, wander in your ignorance? Because that alert you made just makes no sense. So as we always tell people, it's always better to just observe a little bit and before you go and start yapping away. But so that makes total sense on why you did that. So all right, well, that kind of threw away some of my line of questioning, but I guess because looking at the time here, we'll have to start to wrap things up. But where are some things that you recognize that you still kind of want to improve on going forward? And then, you can talk about some things that you think you do pretty well. But I guess areas to improve, we'll start there.
Areas to improve are always just psychology and just removing the emotion. The biggest thing for me was just once I had my system or my strategy that I put together for myself, it was just trusting myself and not breaking my own word. I always looked to myself as a guy that could, shake your hand and say, I'll do something. And I did it, but I couldn't even trust my own word when it came to the market. I would break my own word to myself. I would break my own rules. So I look back now and I think, this is, how can I trust to do this if I can't even trust myself? And so that was a whole series of for me, of a span over about 6 months to a year of just learning how to lose properly, I guess you would say, is how do I become successful? I learned to lose right, the right way to lose when I am wrong. And so I just started really hammering that and hammering the psychology behind, first of all, trusting that I am good enough to do this. That was a big one for me. It was like I'm fighting in this pit with people with millions and millions of dollars, and I think I would psych myself out. Well, I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not smart enough to do this. These guys are chewing me up. They're gonna take all my money. But just realizing that you are good enough to do it, but you have to set your boundaries, and you have to be a person of your word to yourself, and you can't break that. And if you do, you're going to lose money. You're never going to be successful.
Right. And I think you absolutely nailed it. The whole thing is you need to be responsible to yourself. And just like you said you got to be a man of your word practically to yourself, because when you're not, that's when things kind of spiral out of control. You go on tilt, you've blown up your account, and then you kind of look back and you're like, well, why did I do that? I just shot myself in the foot. Now I have to build a whole new account, and I could have easily taken my loss or taken my lumps instead of being stubborn. So yeah, it's a good thing that you kind of recognize that. It's absolutely imperative in trading. So obviously recognizing that is a key crucial point. But what exactly do you have on your charts? What are you using to kind of spot trade ideas?
Okay, so I have a specific pattern that I look for. I look for breakdowns and new highs. And what I look for is really quick. What I do is I studied the fact that if you go on the internet and you look up free videos or whatever, what the masses teach you. You have to think opposite, because 90 to 95% people fail. So the way I'm looking at this is, okay, whatever they're teaching out there, I need to think a little bit differently. So everybody teaches breakdown strategies, and this is just my opinion. So everybody's teaching breakdowns and breakout strategies and flag formations and all this, which is great. But for me, it just didn't work. I would notice a certain pattern. When you had a breakout or you had a breakdown, certain criteria is met, and I've strategized how to take advantage of the kind of the whipsaw once we break through. to a newer low or breaking up to a new high or whatever. So that to me is the pattern that I see that does me pretty good. So that's really it. I mean, that's my strategy. My strategy is kind of playing the opposite side of breakdown or new high strategies. It's buying a new breakdown at a certain price point, or buying a breakout at a certain price, or shorting a breakout at a certain price point. So, and then instantly being able to say, okay, I'm right or I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, I cut this trade, get out of it. So, and that's just kind of the strategy that's brought me to where I'm at today.
That's interesting. It makes sense. But just I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, because I know exactly what you're saying, and you're right. I mean, that's when you kind of try to figure out what the herd's doing, then you can try to do the opposite of that. Yeah. But that kind of brings a whole circular logic to, there's a reason why a lot of people are taught a certain way, because it can work, and it does work. I mean, certain principles out there do work even when they're taught to the masses. That's why they're taught. But like I said, there is little cracks that you can also kind of, try to get in and try to, build a strategy around.
Right.
So, I mean, really that just complements what Ches and I are always saying is, that's why anybody out there selling you a strategy is a con man, because everybody's got to figure out what works best for them, what makes sense in their mind. And that all makes sense for Trey. If you go out there and try to exactly repeat what Trey said, it may work for you. But if you are not quite built the way mentally that Trey is from a personal risk tolerance perspective, then it's not going to work out for you. At the end of the day, that's why you need to learn tools. You need to learn what a chart is, how to use a chart. And after you learn those things, then you can build a strategy and build a system that works for you. So that's why here we're all about, there's no right or wrong way. Well, there is a right or wrong way to trade, but there's not like a universal strategy that works for everybody. I mean, the common one is always short penny stocks. Short penny stocks, they always go down. Okay, yeah, maybe that'll work for some people. But if you think that that's like the holy grail, then yeah, I have some oceanfront property in Idaho I will sell you. That's not, there's more to it than that. Sure, that's a great sales pitch. But once again, Ches and I were just terrible business people by actually telling people that, no, we're not going to hand you some nicely crafted strategy that all you got to do is plug and play. You got to build something that works for you. So, like I said, what Trey, I fully agree with him. He's found what works for him. But if you go down exactly and, okay, let me research free videos, let me figure out what everybody's doing. Okay, now I'm going to start to do the exact opposite. There's a lot of nooks and crannies within that in and of itself. So just be warned. You need to be very, very careful with how you approach things. But yeah, at the end of the day, do what works for you. Is that a fair summary, Trey? You found what works for you mentally and from a personal risk tolerance perspective?
Yes. And the only reason I say that is because I would get involved in those breakout strategies, and it seemed like as soon as I entered a breakout, it would just instantly, go against me, and it would be like a fake out or a false break or something, and it's great in in a risk versus reward scenario where you can have a set a 2-to-1 strategy or whatever, but for me it just wasn't working. So that's just like you said, it's just my personal preference.
And Ches and I have talked to plenty of people where they'll play breakouts all day long, or they'll play breakdowns all day long, and they'll just cruise along with them and do plenty fine with that. So I mean, many ways up the profit mountain. You just got to find a way that doesn't cause you to go insane and freak out. And that's why it's all about finding the tools and using tools to build something that fits your personal risk tolerance. Well, looking at the time, we're at almost an hour. Time flies. We'll have Trey back, though, no doubt about it, now that he's very active in the chat room, which is good. I'm assuming your poison oak goes away. But, Ches, you have yourself a time machine. No, Trey, you cannot answer. I would avoid the poison oak that I just got. That's not going to be a valid answer. But, Ches, I'll tee this one up for you. For We're rusty. I'm rusty, I should say. What am I trying to say right now, Ches? I'm trying to say I'm teeing up the time machine question for you. There we go.
Okay, so I'll preface it like this. Trey, you need to wear like a biohazard suit so you don't get poison oak all over the time machine, but I'm still happy to lend it to you. And if you were to use it and go back to any period of your choice, not to give yourself a buy or sell recommendation or anything like that, what is one piece of advice you would give yourself?
Just to cut losses. Learn, just trust yourself and cut losses. If you cut losses quick and you just get out, you're a winner. That's in my opinion. If you can do that and quit hanging on to hope that this trade's going to turn around, you cut it and you walk away, and that's probably the most important thing that I could say.
Nice. So just to rephrase, learn the importance of cutting losses as quickly as possible. You wish you would have learned that lesson a lot quicker than what you did. Is that
Yes,
kind of a fair summary?
That's correct.
Because that's actually a really good point, because I think everybody has been there in one way or another where it's like, I don't want to take a loss. But the sooner you realize that it's okay to take losses, and that if you just take a loss quickly, admit you're wrong and move on, then over the long haul, sure, it's annoying in the little time slices, but when it's the big slice of time, yeah, things definitely work out a lot easier. Well, we're going to move on into the fun questions now. So, Trey, what is your favorite movie?
Oh gosh, favorite movie. I'm from the era of probably the Rocky movies, the Terminators, and Young Guns. If you've ever seen Young Guns. So that's 3.
So you're a child of the 80s.
Yes, loved them all.
Young Guns.
I haven't watched Terminators in so long. I'm going to have to cue those on. Maybe on the holiday I'll go through those. I haven't watched those in a long time.
You need to watch some Rocky too there, Ches. I mean, it doesn't get any more America. This is a perfect time of year.
I've seen Rocky this year, though. Yeah, it is true. It is good for the 4th. What about food and desserts? What are you snacking on?
I love. Let's see, what do I love? Salt and vinegar potato chips.
Oh, that's good stuff.
And salted peanuts. I love salted. I could eat those all. I could live off salted peanuts like all day, every day.
Well, I think those are the first we've ever heard of those. I mean, but
that's true.
I don't blame you, man. You're a man of salt. Yeah. So good stuff. What about hobby wise, outside of the market? What do you enjoy to do with your time?
My kids, my family. I've got 3 daughters, so we try to spend as much time as we can together. So we're.
What do you guys do? Go down to the park, ride bikes, stuff like that?
My oldest daughter's trying to. She's trying out for cross country this year, so we usually go and run in the mornings, and just trying to stay busy.
Gotcha.
Sounds more miserable than busy to me. You cross country folk. I don't understand you. I would prefer to just run 10 yards, tackle somebody, then go take a break in the huddle real quick for another 30 seconds. But cross country people, I just don't understand. So when you're running in the morning, that's also what I've learned is cross country people. Ches, I don't know if you've noticed this too, but they're like, I went for a run, and they say it all nonchalantly. Then you press them, you're like, a run is in. Like 7 miles. It's like 7 miles. That's
I
not
knocked
just
out 13 this morning. Yeah,
that's not just a run. That's insane. So, what are these morning runs that you go on, Trey, with with your daughter?
So we usually run about 2 or 3 miles. And
see, that's what I mean. 2 or 3 miles. That's not like it's exactly short.
No, it half kills me because I'm a bit overweight, and so it's not. It's one of those things where it's helping me while I'm trying to keep up with her. So it's one of those, but
right.
But it
a win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Yep, and you get to kind of spend some time with your daughter. So absolutely, yeah, that's totally makes sense. Now, if you had to pick 3 words that you would use to sum up successful trading, what would those 3 words be?
Oh gosh, stop loss, patience, and strategy.
I like it. There's There's nothing wrong with any of those. I mean, we've heard some of those time and time again, but there's a reason why people say them time and time again. It may just be because they have a shred of truth attached to them. So, Trey, thank you very much for hanging out with us. And again, just for context for everybody, it's July 3rd. The market's closed early today. So Trey could, well, I guess not, since you're knowing the context of the situation of Poison Oak, but you could have been out maybe doing some other thing. But
not having Poison
Oak.
You
agreed to this before you got Poison Oak, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I got it on Saturday.
So there you go. So,
yeah.
Okay, my point stands is that, you're taking time out of a day where a lot of other people are out already starting to enjoy the week, or not the weekend, but the time off as the markets are closed on the 4th. And then you compound in the fact that you have Poison Oak. Thank you very much, Trey. I look forward to having you speak up more in the chat room, get to know you more. And thank you for hanging out.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
For you listeners, before we go, first off, I hope you enjoyed your 4th of July. But and hopefully you all have 10 fingers still and all that good stuff. But before you go from here, if you enjoyed this, a few things. First, if you're listening on claytrader.com, the show notes page, leave us comments. We do read those. We will reply. And if you click that share button, that really helps us out. Most importantly, though, on iTunes, if you're listening there or any of the other podcast players, but again, especially on iTunes, if you could leave us a rating and feedback, that goes and helps us out quite a bit. Hopefully it would be a 5-star rating. But little things like that, even if you never spend a dime, totally cool. But that really just helps us out if you enjoy these podcasts. And then finally, if you are listening on YouTube, make sure to check out the rest of the channel. Lots of other stuff. There's the live trade videos that Trey talked about. There's quick tip videos. There's a vlog. There's a good variety. So make sure to check out the YouTube channel as a whole, and hopefully you ultimately decide to subscribe. So thank you again to Trey. Thank you again to our esteemed co-host, Ches. We'll see you all back next week.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.